Good Sunday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I am your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson. Let's go on and talk about the weather for your Sunday evening going into your week because it is indeed Sunday evening, meaning that the start of the work week is tomorrow. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about our current weather, what's going on right now, and also, we're also going to talk about just the weather for tonight and the tropics as well. Tropics also a pretty big area that we're going to talk about as well. And then the cold front. We're also going to talk about the cold front that will move in later this week that will drop our temperatures as well. So, a good amount of stuff to talk about tonight. But first, before we get to that, if you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, go on and do so. We're at 589 last time that I checked. So, we're still at that 589. And if you want to go on and do so, please make sure that you want to do so. It's free. You can change your mind at any time. Right now, also, we have around 9 people that have tuned in and only 5 likes so far. So if you're a part of that 4 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. It's free. So let's go on and talk about what's going on throughout the state of South Carolina first. Starting off, we do in fact have some rain going near the coastal areas as well as inside of the inland low country, but again, it's relatively isolated and very light. Not really seeing anything too heavy right now. Now, what about the entire U.S.? We have rainfall that goes in from Georgia to Alabama to Mississippi to Louisiana to Florida over into Minnesota, and even Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan as well is included in there, Iowa. And then we do have some severe weather also going on in Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, rainfall going on over there in Wyoming and Montana as well as Colorado. And then we do have some snowfall that is going on right now also inside of Wyoming as well. Winter storm advisories or winter weather advisories are going on inside of Colorado or Wyoming. And there's some snow on the backside, but there's some snow. You can kind of see some starting to get going up there inside of Wyoming, but at least where the actual winter weather advisory is. But for the most part, it looks like that snow will move in. Cloud cover, mostly cloudy right now. Looks like low country, Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, upstate, all has some clouds moving in. And even if we go into our cloud cover for the future, going and push this forward, you can see that cloud cover will continue to kind of move its way east, but the upstate starts to kind of receive some cloud cover activity. Definitely less than the other regions, I will say, definitely less than the other regions, but it, in my opinion, still will be relatively on the mostly clear side until we get later into like tomorrow afternoon and late morning, where that really significantly starts to change, and we start to kind of lighten up more on the eastern side of South Carolina now, even towards the coastal areas. Current temperatures right now around 71 in Columbia as well as 70 in Orangeburg, 71 in Somerville as well as 73 inside of Georgetown, 74 in Murrells Inlet as well as 74 in Charleston, 73 in Myrtle Beach and even 70 in Conway, 72 in North Myrtle Beach as well as 71 in Aiken. We also have around 69 in Clemson, 68 in Greenville as well as 67 in Spartanburg, 67 in Gaffney, and 68 in York and Rock Hill. Low temperatures for tonight seem to be around 62 in Greenville, 61 in Spartanburg, as well as 61 in Rock Hill, 62 in Winsboro, and even 65 in Columbia, 64 in Camden, 66 inside of Sumter, 65 in Kingstree, and 78 or 68 inside of Moncks Corner in Walterboro, 72 in Charleston, and 70 in Myrtle Beach and Georgetown, 73 in Hilton Head Island. Rainfall for tonight, good amount of rainfall as possible. This goes all the way from tonight into tomorrow night, like around 8 p.m. or so. 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch goes in for Moncks Corner and other areas as well that are just like are right on that border but not highlighted, like Barnwell and Orangeburg. Those are areas that could potentially receive some. But 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch possible in those areas. And then you take a huge gap and then you go to like Hilton Head Island and Charleston where half an inch to potentially an inch of rainfall is possible as you move through around like the next 23 hours. And obviously, in between, like I said, you have areas that might get around a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch, or a quarter of an inch to a half an inch, or half an inch to an inch, or some areas might even get an inch to an inch and a half. It's possible, definitely is possible. The crazy score, not the crazy score, actually, we're going to come back to that actually in just a second. But thunderstorm activity for tonight, we still have this thunderstorm risk right here, That goes in for the low country, goes in for the southern Midlands as well, and then might even go a bit into the very, very, very western PD / Grand Strand area. But if a shower gets going, the ingredients are there. Ingredients are 100% there. Now, what about for tomorrow, for Monday? Thunderstorm activity goes on again from the Midlands to the Low Country to the PD, Grand Strand area. Thunderstorm activity is possible there as well. And then even as you go into day 3, which is Tuesday, thunderstorm activity possible from the Low Country, the coastal Low Country of South Carolina, going in from like Hilton Island to Beaufort to the beaches along there. But other than that, that's it for Tuesday as well. Now, we're going to talk about excessive rainfall, but there is none. There is no excessive rainfall that is expected over the next 5 days, and so no severe weather as well over the next 5 days, 8 days as well. So it looks like, for now, we are looking good. So now we can talk about the crazy score out of 20 now, inside of the mild category. Really just because isolated coastal showers are still ongoing right now. Mild and humid though tonight, stable atmosphere, but cloudy. And then there will also be some patchy fog, especially inside of the northwestern area of South Carolina and inside of the mountain valleys. 2 to 5 miles of range is what they're looking at. So that's why we're inside of that mild category. If we go on now and talk about the models, because the models is obviously the next area that we do in fact talk about. Time is in the top right corner of your screen. Make sure that you want to pay attention to that, so you can see exactly what is going on at a specific time frame. Obviously, this was subjected to change, but this is just a simulation of what could happen. We have shower activity going on. That will push up inland a little bit more, so that's why you start to see some of those like streaks of rainfall try to move into like the inland areas of South Carolina. That goes all the way from 12 to 1 to 2 to 3 to maybe even around 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. I mean, you see all of the shower and downpour activity going on over here from the Low Country all the way up into the PD and the Grand Strand area. Now, as you go all the way into around like 7, 8, 9 a.m., still seeing shower activity going on, shower downpour activity still going on from the Low Country up into the upstate, not the upstate, but the kind of like the upper Midland area is probably where it's going to like max out at. But I mean, you can actually still see some actually in the upstate as well. That goes all the way to around 8, 9 a.m. Definitely a lot more isolated and a lot almost weaker, maybe possibly than the Low Country, but it's there. Also, up there inside the PD area, they're also seeing some rainfall as you go through all the way to 10, 11 to 12 to 1 p.m. tomorrow. Still have that shower activity going on inside of the western part of the state. If we continue even further, still seeing just all of this isolated shower activity that continues all the way through to around 11 to 12 o'clock in the morning on October the 7th. When we still have shower and downpour activity moving into the coastal areas, moving back into that Low Country area, and it's pretty much starting off all over again. You're starting off again 6, 7, 8, 9 a.m., still seeing the shower activity push right back into the Low Country as well. Goes all the way through to around 10 to 11 a.m., and then by 2 p.m., you start to see a lot of that shower activity start to move up into the Midlands and then up into the upstate as well. So things kind of like these 2 days right here kind of seems a bit more like a repeat of one another. Not obviously an exact repeat, but it looks like that these 2 days of Monday and Tuesday could potentially start off pretty similarly with each other. Will that happen though? We're going to continue to wait and find out. Now, what about the long-term future? Long-term future, this is what I'm kind of interested about the most. If you just go on and push this forward all the way through to October the 9th, this is the cold front right here, which we'll come back to the cold front in just a second. We'll come back to it. But just you can see the cold front passes on around like October the 9th, which is on, I believe, Thursday. That brings in some moisture for sure. For sure, that definitely brings in some moisture. And after that passes, you're seeing some cool, dry air. And then you have like this little disturbance over here, potentially maybe on October the 13th. I mean, that is around 8 days out. So that can definitely change a lot. Definitely could change a lot. So I'm not going to say too much on that right now, except for that right now it's kind of just an anomaly. If you go even to earlier, you see it, but it's, well, you don't actually see it at all. In the 60 as well, you kind of see it off. And then just as you go even to yesterday when we were looking at this, completely just up there inside of the mid-Atlantic area. So it's jumping all over the place. Will this happen? We're still gonna, monitor it. We're still gonna see, but right now I'm not seeing anything exactly from the National Hurricane Center right now stating anything about it. But there goes the high pressure right here. It's kind of pushing that storm system away, goes all the way to the 18th. And once you get to the 18th, you really can't go any further than that in terms of in-depth, just because it's way too far out. But we can look at patterns, and patterns for the most part, it looks like it could be an active part to kind of like the mid-latter part of October. We were talking about the middle part of October last night, and how, for the most part, it looks like it's going to be a bit active, or a bit quiet. A bit quiet, and it still kind of looks like that, especially if this storm system out here in the Atlantic actually does not occur as modeled. It could definitely still be quiet. You can even see a high pressure that forms, but it matters on what the tropics does, and so we're going to talk about the tropics in just a second. But it looks like a pretty interesting October, to say for the most part. Now, if we go on, because that is it for the precipitation, and not, I mean, it's not really that much. If I go in and look at this model run right here, again, individual, but it's still something to look at. It's around like 4 to 6 inches of rainfall at the max, and that's, like the coastal areas up here in the upstate. I mean, you can see all the way to maybe only half an inch over the next like 16 days. It's not that good. Not that good at all. Definitely will help aid in the drought if this is to occur as modeled. So what about this week's forecast just in general? So for the most part, it looks like that we will have an above temperature week, meaning that above average temperatures for this time of month. It will be above average, and it will be below it would be the temperature that we normally see would be below from what we're going to see this week. That's pretty much the emphasis on it. And it seems like the more close you get towards like the upstate, seems like the more above average it will be. Coastal areas, looks still above average, but it's not as much. And even if you go into precipitation as well, precipitation will actually be above average as well. So we will see above average precipitation for what we would usually see during this time of year. And it seems to be again near that, but it kind of like switches. It goes more towards that coastal area. It doesn't really go too much towards the upstate. You can even see it at the very far county up there in the very far upstate, just outside of that above average territory, and actually kind of just stays in that near normal category. So it seems like the more towards the coastal areas you get, the more wetter, but still warm, and then the more up towards the upstate, drier, but still pretty warm at the same time. Now, I can't say exactly for sure what's exactly going to happen and how much each region will get, and there's a chance that some areas might definitely get more than others. But if we go on right now and check and see how much rainfall is predicted as we move through the next 7 days, it seems like for the most part that it definitely favors with the idea that the coastal areas are definitely going to get the majority of the rainfall. You see here, until next week Sunday evening, it seems like that we will see a lot of those not temperatures, but a lot of that rainfall go back into those same area. So that would be interesting to see for the most part, but for the drought, if some of these areas only got around like an inch of rainfall, you can just see just for the drought, that would definitely help the abnormally dries, but we definitely need that rainfall in other counties. Like, for example, Berkeley County, that's definitely an area that needs some rainfall. Over there inside of Orangeburg, definitely needs some rainfall. Over there in Bamberg, in Allendale, in Barnwell, in Darlington, in Horry, and Marion, and Dillon, all of those counties need rainfall. And I'm not talking about obviously the counties that are right there, or the part of the county that's right there near the actual Atlantic. I'm talking about the more inland areas of those counties. Now, some of them are kind of more on the southern side. The drought's more on the southern side for some of them, but for the ones that are connected to the water, like Berkeley and Horry, those two definitely are more of the inland areas. But that's all that I have for the precipitation. What about temperatures now? Obviously, we were just talking about that cold front. Just talking about that cold front. If we go into the temperature anomalies, and then we go into just take a look at South Carolina. We start off here, above average. That's what we're expecting all the way. But then look at the cold front as it pushes through on that Thursday. And then it really starts to bring those cooler than average temperatures down. I mean, we're seeing temperatures potentially around a good 12 to maybe around 16, 20 degrees below average as you move all the way through. And that goes all the way through the 10th, through the 11th, the 13th, the 14th. And yes, there will be some warm air resurgences, especially as we get to around like the 15th and the 16th. That high pressure will take over, and it will definitely bring us some hotter temperatures, especially as we get into later October, where some of those temperatures could be right back up into those high 80s. So high 80s in later October. But if you just continue to push this forward even more, you can even see the exact temperatures actually. And those exact temperatures seems to be getting around like the 50s for a good amount of us, which I know a lot of cool weather fans are liking right now. But it definitely looks like that cooler air is on the way. How long will it last exactly? It seems to be trying to go away around like the 16th, 17th, somewhere around that time frame. But that's it that I just want to talk about on the cold front. Expect cooler air to start to move in as we go into later this week. That's all that I have though for the models. The tropics. The tropics. We have this area right here that we are watching for. It actually has a 70% chance of forming now. It's an invest. It is indeed an invest right now, meaning that it has a chance to impact somebody, and they are now kind of watching it, definitely going to maybe try to investigate it, and the models are now pointing to it as well. So what does it currently look like right now? It doesn't really look that impressive, but again, it's still just an invest, so nothing really too much to say about it, except for it's still trying to develop and get itself together. So now the discussion for this thing actually says, quote, a broad area of low pressure associated with a low latitude tropical wave continues to produce an area of disorganized cloudiness and showers several hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. Environmental conditions appear conducive for some additional development of the system, and a tropical depression is likely to form by midweek as it moves quickly across the central tropical Atlantic, approaching the Leeward Islands by the latter part of this week. Interest there should definitely monitor the progress of the system. This has a 50% chance of forming over the next 48 hours and a 70% chance over the next 7 days. And some of y'all may have noticed what's been going on the trend of the system. If you remember the first time that we were talking about it, it said it would have the chance to form at the end of the week. Then as we went into, I believe it was either last night or this morning, it said it will form either by midweek or the latter part of the week. And now it says it will form by midweek. It is likely to form by midweek. That does not mean that it's expected to form midweek. It is likely to form midweek. So the chances of this thing increasing in the shorter term are growing, not just because we're getting closer to the end of the week, but just because it might form earlier than expected. And so that would probably be some good news for us, because obviously the more that these storms get stronger, obviously the more that they want to go up and fight for latitude. And if you go in and actually look at the models themselves and see what the models have to say, for the most part, they like that northern, track. If you go in right here and check out what the Hurricane model right here has to say, most of them like that northern track, but don't just completely just rule out these four little models down here that are continuing to make their way over, like past Puerto Rico, over towards Cuba, and then over potentially towards us, but low. But the possibility is there. But most of them curve. Even if you go into the GFS has most of them curving out, while a couple of them stay relatively on the weaker side. You can see the weaker ones kind of staying a little bit more on the southern side. And yes, you have some weak ones that curve. You have some maybe some strong, this little strong one right here that may continue to go more towards the southern side. But those are just some anomalies, obviously. Those are kind of like rare situation, but the stronger the storm gets, obviously, the more that it wants to go up north. Now, if you go to the GEPS here pretty much has the same thing, having the curve, and actually having no models really going over towards us at all. And then here's the intensity guidance. You have a couple of these systems, just automatically saying, yes, Category 5, this will 100% reach it. Obviously, it's too far out. And for the most part, it seems like that most models agree this will become a hurricane, which at this point, we've already, what would this be, like our fourth or fifth hurricane at this point? So we are slowly racking them up, and it looks like that this one could most likely be a storm that might not impact that many people. So another good news sign right there, but I'm not ruling anything out. Still way too far out for me. I'm just going to continue to wait for it to see what happens. That is all that I have for the tropics here. So let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, Mr. Chris says, good evening, everyone. Hope you all had a great day. I did. Good evening to you. My Aunt Lula then says, good evening, everyone. I hope that everyone had a blessed day. I did as well. Good evening to you. Mr. Chris comes back and says, please remember to go hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Also share. He's absolutely correct. Sharing is indeed caring. We have 26 people in here so far, and we only have 10 likes. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know where the other 16 people are that have not hit the like button yet. Go on and do so. Ms. Tolver says, happy Lord's Day. Nice gray day at my house, although the wind has picked up here in the last 30 minutes. Does that mean we'll get some rain? Not necessarily, but, if you go on and look at the current radar right now, there is indeed some rainfall going on, especially inside of like the coastal areas, but not getting too much inland. But no, that does not mean rainfall at all. In fact, that is actually just because of, I actually had the thing right here. Hold on, let me go back to this real quick. But it says, for the most part, just due to the high pressure as well, and then also just due to a short wave and inverted coastal trough, that would also enhance that as well. It's kind of, you probably have no idea what I mean by that, but for the most part, it pretty much just means that's just due to the high pressure that we have that's going on right now, that's kind of near us right now. Going back, though, if I can go on and find it, there we go. Dad says, good evening, everyone. I trust all is well with you. Great day here inside of Central Texas. That is great to hear. Good evening to you. My Aunt Lula comes back and says, in Georgetown, we had some rain, but not much. Let me see. Did I get some rainfall today? That's a great question. It actually was a bit wet on the ground this morning, so I'm assuming that it did. Yes, it did. 3/100 of an inch fell at my house, so not a lot, but accumulation. Going back, Mr. Chris says, was a tad on the warm side here amongst corner. Was a tad. For me, high temperatures for today at my house was around like 81 degrees-ish, somewhere around there. Terrell says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. Nice day here. Glad to hear that. My Nan says, hello, Jay. Hello to you. And then Mr. Chris says, I agree, it's really dry here in Moncks Corner. It is, and especially due to the drought that's not there, but it is definitely abnormally dry over there. And then my Aunt Lula says one more time, the rain we did get was in the wee hours in the morning. Same thing at my house as well. It was before I woke up when it started raining. And that's all that we have inside the chat. I don't see anything else going on. So let's go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, what in the world am I talking about the 4 locations? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and even Duncan, Oklahoma. And I'm just going to go in and spoil it now so we don't have to talk about it. There is indeed no precipitation, no severe weather, and no excessive rainfall that is expected for all 4 of these regions just as we go through the next 48 hours, and for severe weather and excessive rainfall, that being the next 5 to 8 days. So that's what we're looking at now. And so when I kind of just zip through this, just because there's just not a whole lot. But we start off with San Antonio first. Low temperatures tonight at 71, high temperatures tomorrow at 93, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 74. No precipitation is expected, no severe weather, and no excessive rainfall is expected either. For Raleigh, you have low temperatures tonight at 58, high temperatures tomorrow at 83, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 61. You do, in fact, have some Apache fog risk that is there for tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning, so watch for that if you're going out early. Philadelphia being the 3rd location with low temperatures tonight at 57, high temperatures tomorrow at 81, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 60. There is indeed no precipitation that is expected at this time, but patchy fog is possible again tomorrow morning. We're really expected. No severe weather or excessive rainfall for you either. And then for Duncan, low temperatures tonight at 62, high temperatures tomorrow at 88, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 63. No precipitation is expected at this time. And so that's it. For those 4, probably the quickest we've ever gone through them. So what's going on throughout the entire U.S.? Just weather news wise. Right now, it looks like, for the most part, scattered areas of heavy rainfall continues to produce isolated flash flooding across the Florida peninsula. Anomalous moisture will combine with a cold front and bring heavy rainfall and scattered flash flooding across the Mid-South, Ohio, and Tennessee valleys today and Tuesday. Above average temperatures will continue to be found ahead of the cold front from the Midwest all the way to the Northeast. So, and that's exactly what's going on with us as well. Have this above average temperatures moving through, and then as it kind of just moves its way out, do that cold front, but after that cold front gets through around like the 15th, 16th, 17th, like I said, it will start to get warmer again. So definitely, if you are a cool weather fan, definitely enjoy that because the warm air will be back. It will, in fact, be back. Another thing that I really haven't been talking about too much is the fact that we still have rip currents going on. Rip currents are definitely not done yet, especially inside the low country area, and probably still inside the Grand Strand area as well. So make sure that you're still paying attention for that. And then we also do have some freeze warnings going on. That goes on all the way from North Dakota to South Dakota to Wyoming to Utah to Idaho to Oregon to Montana. So freezing will occur up there due to that cold front that just passed by. It's definitely going to drop their temperatures a lot. That is all that I have, though, for tonight. If you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button, go in and do so. Also, make sure you go and hit the share button. Share with all the people that you know. Top fans for tonight. If I go on and actually check this out, we have Mr. Chris at number 1, my Aunt Lula at number 2, and then Trail at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans for tonight. If you want to be a top fan, you can. You just have to be, obviously, a subscriber of the channel. And you have to be active inside the chat. You have to be here early, or else you won't get that spot. Unless there's barely anybody there, which then you might get yourself a spot. Might sneak one in real quick. But if you want to get it, go on and do all of that. I will be back tomorrow morning, Monday morning, starting off the week. And make sure that you are there. Anything else really that I have to say? No, except for we are 11 away from 600. Remember, we're having the Q&A at 600. Fan of the month is coming up soon, either on tomorrow evening or on Tuesday evening. It's going to be one of those two days. I will talk about it probably tomorrow morning. Exactly if it will be Monday, probably Tuesday. So it's a bit more of a longer notice. I will be back tomorrow morning. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Sunday evening. And let's start off the week strong. Hit those two buttons before you leave.